All right, what's up, my friends? Welcome, Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering, crossing over. That's right. We're doing our full set review right now for Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth, Legal and Modern, Legal and Historic, Legal and Draft, Commander, and it's a pretty exciting set so far. We've already done white, already did blue. Also did an explanation on the Ring Tempt You mechanic, how that works. Go watch that one on YouTube, obviously, if you missed that as well. And make sure you hit that like button. Obviously, I'm saying it was a lot lately, but like really helps out content creators. Hit the like button, super cool. And also, as a reminder, real fast, Baldur pre-release. It's gonna be in 2 weeks on Sunday, June 25th. 4 rounds, free to play with prizes, lots of fun in the Discord, free for YouTube subs, YouTube members, and Twitch subs. Lots of fun in the Discord. Check it out, Baldur pre-release. So let's get into black. The color that contains probably the best card in the set. How's that for a teaser, right? Let's get right in. Look at our first card here. Bitter Downfall. We're also doing our awards. We're doing our awards for our usual awards. Also doing a flavor award too. This one's close, but not quite. Bitter Downfall is a 4-mana instant. It costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature that has dealt damage this turn. Destroy a creature, and they lose 2 life. So, sorry, excuse me. I'm good. Obviously, depicting the fall of Boromir. This is a pretty solid limited card. Obviously, without the spell reduction text, this card is still quite good. 4-mana instant kill creature, deal 2. But then, if your opponent, if creatures dealt damage or whatever, or like you chump block with a 1/1 or whatever else, maybe you pass for 1. That's awesome too. So this is a really good limited card. First pickable limited card. Playable in anything else, no. But great limited card, like to see it, and of course, cool flavor, cool art. A lot of cool flavor and art in this set. This set is very flavor and art dense and complexity light, which I think is pretty great, honestly, after the last few sets which have been so dense. The Black Breath. The metaphor, a sorcery. Creatures your opponent's control get -1/-1 on turn, and the ring tempts you. Again, ring tempts you. I explained it at the very beginning of the set review. Go watch it on YouTube. Look it up if you're on stream. I'm not going to go over it again. But this is like a really fringy sideboard card, obviously. This is one where the ring tempts you looks tacked on, but makes a lot of sense, obviously, with with Sauron and so on and so forth, and the ring rates and stuff. So, just a sideboard card for limited. Nothing more, but it's cool. The Call of the Ring. This is an interesting one. I think this card is better than it looks. No awards here for me. But 2 mana for an enchantment. Many of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Mind you, you don't need to have a creature in play for the ring to tempt you. But if you do, you choose a ring bearer. And then if you choose a creature as a ring bearer, you pay 2 life and draw a card. So sort of like a weird Phyrexian Arena-y effect that also just runs you through the entire ring, which is pretty cool as well. Kind of a weird card because like you play a 1-drop, you play this, your opponent has 2 full turns to kill the 1-drop, so you can't draw off it. But it's also a card you kind of want to play early because like it's an enchantment, it doesn't do anything when you play it. So like there's a weird tension in this card for sure, where it's probably not good enough as far as modern or historic goes. But definitely very powerful and limited. Pretty fun card in Commander. It's cool though. Art's super cool. And it's so weird that I just think it might have a chance, but I'm not entirely sure. So, cool card though. Call the Ring, great draft card. Kirith Ungol Patrol. We have a 5-mana 4/5 common orc soldier. Pay 1, sack creature, draw a card, and then make a food. Just like an okay draft card. Not a card I'd be excited about at all, honestly. But a card that if it's in my deck, I'm not super sad. And obviously, if you're making much tokens and so on and so forth, it's kind of cool. One cool thing here is that if you have a small army token, you can sacrifice it, and then the next time you amass, get a new token. I think amass is very front-loaded. Mass, of course, gives you a token, adds counters to it, and then all future instances of amass add counters to the token you already have. So if you can sacrifice it, and then amass again and make a new token, now you're actually gaining material, which is kind of cool. So plays well with amass, kind of cool, but for the most part, this is just like a 5-mana curve topper in your draft deck. Might play it, might not. Little synergy is what it is. Claim the Precious. Oh boy.
The salted pork is particularly good.
We've got our award for flavor. Our flavor award. Our new, this is an award just for the Lord of the Rings set. Claim the Precious. We see, of course, here Smeagol, who has killed his friend. I forget the friend's name. And taken the Precious, the One Ring, as his birthday present. Which really, honestly, if his friend wasn't a jerk and just gave it to him, you know, like, maybe he wouldn't have gotten killed. But Deagle. So, murder, ring tempts you. It is a sorcery. So, obviously, a little worse than you'd want to see in general. But obviously, a great card in limited. The one thing that bothers me here is this art. These, like, feet right here, like, they're coming out of the bushes. It doesn't look like there could be a body in those bushes. Like, it doesn't really, like, how did the body get into the bushes like that? Was he thrown in? Was he, you know, I don't know. The art's a little weird. But aside from that, obviously a great draft card. Obviously a cool flavor card. And a card that we'll never see play in virtually any constructed format. But who cares? Honestly, it's just really, really cool. It's a cool, fun card. And there's a lot of value to that, I think, that people miss out on sometimes. A CSI gym? Yeah, basically. Me and Nicole watched too many episodes of Criminal Minds. You know, I'm Dr. Reed over here. Dunland Creebane. That's definitely wrong.
You're saying it wrong.
3 mana for a 1/1 flyer when it ETBs amass 2. So we have sort of like the inverse of Preening Champion, the best common in the last format, where we get a 1/1 flyer that comes with a 2/2. That's a lot worse. And then again, also, amass Orcs, I think, has pretty big diminishing returns. You make a 2/2. Now you have a body in play. Great. If you do it again and make the 2/2 into a 4/4, that's like not bad, but you're kind of egging into a basket. And if you're able to kill the basket, now you've kind of lost all your triggers at once. We'd almost rather have a spread out, I think. You know, if all the amass cards just like made a 2/2, made a 1/1, or whatever, it'd be a lot better. So the army thing is like, it's weird, has diminishing returns. So I think his card is certainly fine, but is not nearly as good as Preening Champion. You know, and this is certainly a fine card, but this is not Preening Champion. This card's fine. It's reasonable. Good draft card overall. Makes 2 bodies, good for sack outlets and stuff, but don't put this card on a level of Preening Champion. And then also be aware of the fact that you kind of want to go wide and you can't with these cards, so sack outlets are cool too. Draft card, that's all it is. Easterling Vanguard, another draft card here. 2 mana for a 2/1 human. When it dies, amass 1. Great draft card. Just great. 2 when it dies makes a 1/1. It's phenomenal limited. Good sack fodder card. Good aggro card. Just good everything. Just good draft card. Gollum, Patient Plotter. Of course, once again, there are legends of his set. There are 3 versions of all the main characters: uncommon, rare, and mythic. This is the uncommon Gollum. This is 2 mana for a 3/1. It can block, which is very important. Whenever it leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And then you pay a black, sacrifice a creature, and return Gollum from your graveyard to your hand, only as a sorcery. This is a slam dunk in limited. This card is phenomenal. A 3/1 for 2 is obviously just fine. The ring tempts you is also fine. And then you can just sacrifice your 1 mana amass token, get this thing back to your hand, and just keep doing it again. The ring keeps tempting you. This card is awesome. I think this card is excellent. Great draft card. Beyond limited, most of the uncommons, legends, aren't for anything beyond limited. But as far as limited goes, this card's excellent. Really, really fun. I'll be crawling around on all fours during the pre-release or whatever and having a great time. Good stuff. Gollum's Bite. 1 mana for an instant. We have Disfigure with upside. So Disfigure, of course, was 1 black, -2/-2. Disfigure saw play in Legacy. I won an open in Legacy playing Disfigure, I believe, in my main deck, if not my sideboard. However, that was pre-Fatal Push and pre-Cut Down. So, Disfinger? Why did they call it Disfinger? Oh my god, killer. So, because those cards exist, that basically makes this card unplayable in Modern or in Historic. I'm sorry, in Modern. Or in Historic too. Barring some weird need for -2/-2. So, for example, if for some reason Adanto Vanguard became really popular in Modern, and both Cut Down and Fatal Push can't kill that, sure, maybe you would need this card. But specifically, for the most part, this is not a playable card for Constructed. It is a great draft card, though. We have 1 black to give us a kill a creature, and then a little extra value for ring tempting you is kind of cool as well. Just a solid draft card. Kind of cool art, cool flavor. Not a bite spell, I guess, but Gorebag of Minas Morgul. 2 mana for an Orc Soldier 2/2. Whenever a Goblin or Orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, choose one. Draw a card or make a treasure. So again, another way to kind of sacrifice your armies for value, which is super cool. Where attack with your 1/1 army, sack it, draw a card, and then amass again like on some future turn or whatever. That's pretty awesome too. So again, the amass tokens don't give you a lot of material because they keep stacking up rather than going wide, unless you have a way to sack them, which is good. And this card does that pretty well at a very good rate also. So I think Gorebag's pretty good. Definitely a solid draft card. Other formats, you can't really sack your attackers for cards and treasures to have value. But yeah, good draft card for sure. Gothmog, Morgul Lieutenant. 4 mana for a 3/3. ETB amass 1. So floor, a 3/3 and a 1/1 is phenomenal. Tokens you control of Death Touch. Just a good draft card. This is just an upside to the white common that's already playable that makes a 1/1. Having Death Touch is great, obviously. Just a solid draft card. Nothing more. Grima Wormtongue. The uncommon Wormtongue is a 3 mana for a 1/4. Opponents can't gain life. Kind of an odd line there. And tap, sack creature. Target player loses 1 life. If a sacrifice creature was legendary, amass orcs too. So another way to utilize your amass tokens, which is kind of cool. Obviously, not gaining life is not going to be that relevant in limited. I guess I'm sorry. There's the foods. So I guess the Hobbit deck maybe, but the foods are used for other stuff too. But yeah, just okay. Honestly, nothing really super exciting and limited. Sideboard card for life gain stuff. I mean, maybe an historic, but probably not. But it's cool. Grond.
Make a little noise here, huh?
Grond the Gatebreaker.
Come on, I can't hear you.
4 mana for a 5/5 trample vehicle. As long as it's your turn and you control an army, Grond the Gatebreaker is an artifact creature, so no crew. And this is a pretty freaking good draft card, honestly. We've got a 5/5 trample for 4. Obviously, you can crew it if you're somehow lacking an army, but there's just so many army cards in these colors that I think you should be pretty good here. Obviously, somewhat of a synergy card. This card will vary in power level based on how many army cards you have, but for the most part, this card is good. So good draft card, not much more. Obviously, cool flavor. Love to see Grond. Grond's really cool. Haunt of the Dead Marshes, 1 mana for a Nightmare Elf 1/1. When ETB Scry 1, which is kind of cute because like the elf mechanic is to scry, but that's in blue-green. It's kind of a little cross synergy here. Pay 3, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped, only if you have a legend. Having a legend is super easy of a set. Barely an inconvenience, all right? Between all the legends there are anyway, and the ring tempts you, having a legend should be almost trivial. So this is a pretty good card, honestly. This is a cool sack card. Keep getting value off of it, keep scrying, and then, of course, bringing it back. Sacking for value, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. I'd want to have things to do with this card in my deck before I put it in my deck. But if you do, then that'd be great. Flavor deck should be Don't Follow the Light. Yeah, I like it. Isildur's Fateful Strike. This is Isildur saying,
"Get off my plane."
Sauron the Dark Lord. 4 mana for a legendary instant. I've not seen one of these in a long time. So a legendary instant you can only cast if you have a legendary creature or planeswalker in play. Again, should be very easy to do in this set with the ring stuff. And destroy a creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. So kind of like a possible way to like mind rot them a little bit, as well as killing the creature. This is obviously going to be great and limited, but aside from that, not really going to do that much. But kind of a cool card. Yeah. Lash of the Balrog, 1 black for a sorcery. Additional cost, sack creature, pay 4, destroy a creature. We've already seen some good fodder here, obviously. It's funny how this card's worse than recent ones, so as they kill planeswalkers. But, like, this is the kind of card where, like, they're not printing a card for any other format but limited, and to print a cool card. And this is a cool card. Freaking Gandalf. Fly, you fools. Lobelia Sackville Baggins. This is going to be our trap card. I don't think there's, like, much hype around this card, but I just had trouble finding a good trap card in black, honestly. And this card has the look of like, commandery cards that are good. 3-drop, flash, ETB ability, so on and so forth. 2 3 for 3, flash menace. When it ETBs, exile a creature card from the opponent's graveyard that's put there in the battlefield this turn, then make X treasures where X is the exiled card's power. So, very weird card. Constructed, again, it sort of reads like, Hull Breacher or whatever. It's like the sizing and the flash and stuff. I doubt this card's going to do anything, though. Honestly, like, in Constructed at least. In Limited, sure, it's fine. You trade off a creature, and you just exile it, and then make 3 treasures. Sure, it's kind of cool. Definitely a cool flavor card for sure. You bury the creature, and then you get to steal their treasures, which is fun. But I think this card just doesn't really make much sense. It's also only your opponent's stuff, so you can't even sack your own things, and like do it that way too. So kind of weird. Yeah, it is getting us Croc stuff. It is true. That is totally fair. You got me there. But overall, I think, it's kind of an exciting card for Constructed, and then okay limited card. March from the Black Gate. It's meant for an enchantment. When it ETBs, whenever an army you control attacks, amass Orcs 1. Kind of a cool card. So you play it, amass Orcs 1 immediately, and then next turn you attack, it becomes a 2/2, which is like obviously fine, and it keeps growing, which is kind of cool. Probably an okay limited card, as far as just like wanting to keep amassing over and over again. I want to be pretty heavy in amass to want this card, but I think it's a fine card for that, and that's basically it. Just a draft card. Cool art, again, obviously. Mirkwood Bats. It's close, but I'm not going to give Best in Show to Mirkwood Bats, despite it being exceptional. I'm not Best in Show. Bombin Common to Mirkwood Bats, despite it being exceptionally good. This is a 4-mana, 2/3 flyer. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. So make a food, make an army, etc., etc. That's pretty powerful. There's a lot of that in the set, obviously. Pretty easy to do over and over again. However, I think there's a black common that I like more, even though they go well in concert. Get to that shortly. But this is a very good draft card. To the flyer. The body could be better for sure. I think if this drained for 1, this card would be bonkers good. But the fact that you play this body, they can't block well, and they don't gain the life back is a little rough. But yeah, pretty cool card. Playable commander, maybe, I guess. But yeah, definitely you're going to die of this card a lot in limited. Make sure you're taking it highly. Mordar Muster. 2/4, a sorcery, draw a card, lose a life, amass 1. This is your like Elvish Visionary, unblack or whatever. Card's fine. Spell. You draw a card. Yada yada yada. Draft card. Just kind of filler, is what it is. Mordar, I can't say this word. Not even gonna try. 3-mana for an artifact creature wall. It's a 1/4 defender. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and or orcs, make a 2/1 construct token with flying named Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking, and sack it at the end of combat. Well, folks, you found it. This is our Bombin Common. I think this card is wildly good. We have a 1/4 for 3, which is fine. Obviously, blocks reasonably well. Sure. There are obviously a bajillion goblins and orcs, so for the most part, as long as you're attacking, you're getting a free 2 damage flyer, which is excellent. Then you can sacrifice that flyer every turn for some sort of value, which is also excellent. And then, of course, what makes it over the top is how well it plays with the bats, right? So the bats, you get to trigger bats twice on every attack step, which is awesome. So I think bats and the Mordor Goblin Cannon here are going to define black in limited in a set. That's the 1-2 punch you're looking for. I think this card is excellent. Very, very good draft common. Bombin Common. Rockin' and rolling. Up next is Morgul Knife Wound. 2-mana for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Creature gets -3/-0 and has the beginning of your upkeep. Exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. So exile their Shadow Realm. Again, great flavor. Super cool. Card's pretty good. The big downside with cards like that give -3/-0 or whatever is that they just have a chump blocker in play forever, obviously. And it can't stop abilities. But obviously this thing makes you keep paying life for it, which is kind of cool. Just a fine card. I don't think it's great, but certainly reasonable. Yeah, fine limited card. Nasty End. Obviously, great story beat, cool art. Not a very exciting card, though. It's okay. Pay 2, instant, sack creature, draw 2. If a creature was legendary, draw 3. I suppose if you make your army into a ring bearer and sacrifice him, it's kind of cool. And the ring bearer part of this does make it somewhat reasonable. That being said, Village Rites for 2 is like, it's okay. It's not amazing. I think if your deck has both a lot of fodder as well as a lot of legends / tempted by the ring, this card's reasonable. But overall, I think this card is a little unexciting. So I don't know. It's okay. In constructed, no. But in limited, it has a chance, I think. The 9 have left Minas Morgul. The Nazgul. Not the Nazgul. A Nazgul. There are 9 different arts for this card. That's awesome. 3 mana for a 1/2. It is a death touch. Whenever it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a counter on each wraith you control. And you can have 9 Nazgul in your deck. Ready, folks? This is my sleeper card for black. The Nazgul are pretty freaking good. So we have here effectively a 2/3 death touch for 3. That also triggers your ring tempts you, right? So it's legendary also and does some cool stuff. The next one you play will give you 2 more counters because it triggers on each other one. So now you'll have 2 4/5s, right? So they actually scale pretty insanely, which is pretty wild. And you can play 9 of them in your deck. So like, I honestly think that there could be an outside shot for this card in like maybe Historic or some sort of format constructed. It ain't crazy, realistically. They scale really, really well. The ring tempt you goes off, which is kind of cool also. That touch is obviously reasonable as well. Counters are relevant as well too. There are 9. You can play 9 of these. So in limited, again, this card's phenomenal as a 2. Remember, the floor here is 2/3 death touch. The ring tempts you, which is fine. And they really go collect a company into these, which is also pretty cool. Like, I'll be playing this card on stream, don't you worry, okay? I think this card's a lot better than it looks. Will it actually make it into constructed? We'll see. But I'm calling it a sleeper card. I think this card is a lot better than it looks. The Rider Dex feels like a meme, but I don't know. I think this card's actually pretty cool. Then in limited, obviously the floor is fine. Get multiples, awesome. Just a really, really cool card. Really fun design. Oath of the Grey Host. 4-mana saga. Chapter 1, you and opponent each make a food token, which is not great. Chapter 2, each opponent loses 3 life, make a treasure token. And then Chapter 3, make 3 tapped spirit flyers. This card's pretty bad. You give your opponent a food also, which is kind of eh. And then the thing is that it takes you 3 freaking turns to get the flyers, and they come in tapped. You can't even freaking use them. So this card seems pretty awful, even for limited. This card costs 3. Maybe we could talk about it, but yeah, not too exciting. 1 ring to rule them all. 1 ring to bind them. Black 2 Saga. Chapter 1, the ring tempts you. Then each player mills cards equal to your ring bearer's power. Chapter 2 destroys all non-legendary creatures. Chapter 3, each opponent loses 1 life, each creature card in that player's graveyard. Unfortunately, super cool name, phenomenal art. The card's pretty bad.
You look terrible.
Milling some cards and ring tempting you, sure. Destroying all non-legendary creatures. There's a lot of legends, obviously, everywhere. And, I mean, that's just not, like it's just pretty rough. And then, of course, losing a life for each creature card in the graveyard. They say they lose 5 life. So if this is like each player mills 4, kill 2 creatures, each opponent loses 5 life. Is like that even good? I mean, Just a very odd card that we'll probably see play in zero formats. It's not even a good limited card because there's so many legendaries also. Like maybe like Chapter 3 you can just kill them. But just kind of a really, really weird card for such an awesome like face card too. I don't know. Kind of a bummer, honestly. They can't all be winners though. Uh-oh. Folks, I got news for you. I've cast Orcish Bowmasters, and it's kind of messed up. I proxied this card for my cube like last weekend, and this card is wild. 2 mana for a 1, flash. When it ETBs, and whenever an opponent draws a card except for their first draw, you get to ping for 1 and then amass 1. So note, this is also on ETB. So at its absolute floor, this is Raise the Alarm, Spark Mage Apprentice. So it is it's 2 1/1s and 1 damage for 2 mana at instant speed. That is not playable in Modern, but it's not far off. You know, if it had a relevant type, if this was, say it was a goblin, made a goblin, this card would be a slam dunk, even without the extra text, you know. However, it has the extra text. So whenever your opponent draws a card, you get to ding for 1 and then amass again. That's insane. Opponent plays Teferi, they minus it, guess what? Boom, Teferi's dead.
Get off my plane.
There's so much random card draw in Magic the Gathering, in powerful formats. In Legacy, Brainstorm, sure. But even in Modern, you know, Teferi minus draw a card, cycle a living end creature or whatever. Just there's a million different things to draw cards, obviously. So the floor here is very, very good. The ceiling is unbelievable, and that's the mark of a really good card. You know, basically, just simple as that. Card's really, really good. Wish this card was a goblin. That would be incredible. But yeah, I mean, this card's really, really good. I don't know what deck wants this card exactly. It would play very, very well with like sacrificing stuff, as far as sacrificing, you know, your amass token and so on and so forth. It is a fodder kind of creature or whatever, which is cool. But yeah, the card's just sick. Definitely, probably best card in the set. Insane Unlimited, Insane Constructed, we'll see playing in literally every format. I can't hype it much more than that, honestly. Card's insane. No reach, though. It's an Archer. What the hell? Orcish Medicine. 2 mana for an instant. Creature gains lifelink or indestructible on a turn, and then amass Orcs 1. Not a great card, honestly. Just like a limited filler combat trick. Not very exciting. Sam's Desperate Rescue. Love it. 1 black sorcery. Raise dead, ring tempts you. Perfect. Flavor win. Again, I feel like about half the cards, the ring tempts you is like just a chef's kiss, beautiful flavor. And then half of them, it's like, why is that on there? It doesn't make any sense. But this is a winner for sure. And that was just a fine limited card for sure. Sauron the Necromancer. This is the rare version of Sauron. This is a 5 mana legendary avatar horror. It's a 4/4 menace. Whenever it attacks, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Make a tapped and attacking token to copy that card. Except it's a 3/3 black Wraith of Menace. Beginning of the next end step, exile that card token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. Sauron gets the ring? Sauron is a cool card, but it is not going to be playable in Constructed. It's a 5 mana creature with no effect on the board immediately, and that's just a non-starter for the most part. But a powerful card. You know, being able to exile cards from your graveyard, getting value is kind of cool. Fun draft card, probably fun commander card also. But for historic, for modern, and so on and so forth, just not quite there. If it had haste maybe or something like that, but. Shadow of the Enemy. Black, 3. Mythic sorcery. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You may cast spells from among these cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. This card sucks. This is a 6 mana Tormod script that is also like a draw 5 or seasons past or whatever. That's just not good. You know, like 6 mana, just nothing, just do nothing but draw some cards or whatever. Very, very slow card. In limited, if it's a really, really, really slow format, maybe. You know, kind of seasons past kind of thing where like if if this thing draws 5 cards, cool. But can you survive tapping 6 mana and doing nothing? So very powerful, very slow, enable black hole, etc., etc. Yeah. Shelob's Ambush. Again, these 1-mana tricks get better and better. 1 black, +1/+2, Death Touch, and a food. Great trick. Great limited trick, phenomenal. Honestly, has an outside shot in Constructed in concert with Goblin Chain Whirler. It's probably the best 1-mana Death Touch card now. But yeah, a lot going on here. Great trick. Good stuff. Snarling Warg. 4-mana for a 3/4. Menace, control goblin or orc. It gets +1/+1, +1/+0. Just a middling filler card. Filler draft card. Nothing too exciting. The Torment of Gollum. Poor Gollum. Man, Gollum's got some troll there. Look at the hand. The hand with the rings cut. I thought that Sauron couldn't take physical form. Hold on, timeout. Is this a flavor fail? Flavor police. Is that hand supposed to be Sauron's hand? With the fingers cut off because the ring was cut off? Because couldn't Sauron not take physical form? That was the whole point. That's the Nazgul. Why are their fingers cut off? Just saying. I don't know all the answers. But it could be a vision. That's fair. That's fun. In the book, Sauron has a physical form? I don't remember that. Honestly. I feel like I don't remember that. Huh. Alright, sure. Well, I guess I read the books in a while, but I'm sure. Just checking. Alright, so Torment of Gollum, 4-mana for a sorcery. Thoughtseize, Amass 2. That's a pretty bad card. Maybe it's sealed, but it's bad. The Troll of Khazad-dûm. This is the black common land cycler. 6 mana for a 6/5. Can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. And has Swamp Cycling 1. Again, the Swamp Cycling for 1 is so good. It's got Super Menace on it. Good body, good rate. These cards are great. Much, much better than the land cyclers in the previous set. Uruk-hai Berserker. 3 mana for a 3/2. When it ETBs, the ring tempts you. Another one of those. Why? Why would the ring tempt you? Because there's an Uruk-hai hanging out? I don't really get it, honestly. Obviously, it's a good draft card. Just like fine. It's like filler, but it's like a fine draft card, whatever. But yeah, sure. Ferocious Fell Beast. 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer. When it ETBs, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and then make a food. Just a fine limited curve dropper. Looking for a nice 6-drop. Obviously affects the board, which is kind of nice, and it's well sized. Makes it food, kind of cool. Making the food is nice too, because as far as stabilizing goes, so that's kind of cool. And that's fair. The ring tempts you because you want to hide from it. That's fair. I could buy that. Sure. Yeah, sure. The Witch King of Angmar. This is the mythic version of the Witch King. 5 mana for a 5/3 flyer. Whenever one or more creatures deals combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that would deal damage to you this turn. The ring tempts you. And then discard a card to give it indestructible in turn until then tap it. This card is going to kill so many people in limited. So many people in limited. Almost unkillable. Not quite though. There are some combos that can kill it. And then impossible to attack into. And constructed, however, this is like a complete non-starter. 5 mana for a 5/3 that has an irrelevant ability against some things. Yeah, so mostly it's a limited bomb. Glad it's a mythic. It's really all there is to it. So that's black. To recap, we have Orcish Bowmasters as our best card. We've got the Nazgul as our sleeper card. Lobelia Sackville Baggins as our trap card. The Mordor Goblin Cannon as the Bombin Common. And our flavor win is Claim the Precious. So that's black. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts here, of course. Red's coming up. Lord of the Rings. Let's go.